Dad told us, and we always thought the American dream is to go to college, get a job, have an amazing life. And it was so far from the truth.
I worked as an engineer for 7 months. I called my brother, I can't do this. This is prison for me. I can't. I started seeing my mom going to different types of jobs. They fired her, and then they didn't pay her for the last 2 weeks. I have that fire in me. My mom will never work at the pretzel factory again.
When we started looking into real estate, it was like a aha moment. Our net profit from that property was $300 a month. And we put the bill of $300, it was AT&T at that time. I was like, I will never have to pay that bill again. So I was like, okay, what's the next thing?
The part of the story that you told me where within a year and a half, your dad's changing out toilets. Like, how does he end up changing out toilets? Like, that's not the vision he had when he brought you guys there.
Yeah.
Like, he probably was like, I'm going to come here with this money, and my wife's going to stay at home and do what a stay-at-home wife does. That's the vision that he had. He's a traditional husband, father. Yet you guys come here, and it's very different after a year and a half. Describe that lifestyle.
As kids, we're seeing our dad from being like serial entrepreneur, like cars, you know, security, you name it, and then trying to find his way into a different culture, different language. And he was figuring out how to make money, right? He got 2 boys that are going to school, ready to go to college, has a wife, has responsibilities, but then the scenario changed, the game, the environment changes. So he started doing the construction. He got a license of a general contractor. And then, you know, he would pick up good jobs, but sometimes there's a small remodeling bathroom that maybe he wouldn't want to take, but guess what? The bills are due.
Right.
The kids' school, lunch, you know, everything is due. So he'll pick the jobs, start picking up the jobs maybe he wasn't really wanted to pick up.
Right.
Because it's not about what you want, it's what what is required of you as a man.
What you have to do. Exactly. So he's picking up jobs. Obviously, he had no intention. The plan wasn't for also you guys to become a 2-income household. So he's picking up side jobs and doing remodels on small units and stuff. And again, what he had in his mind's eye was, I'm going to come here with $250,000, $300,000, secure my kids' future, put them through high school, send them to university, give them the opportunity for the American dream. Wife's going to stay at home, raise the kids, right? Be there for the boys. But very quickly, what does your mom end up doing?
So she started doing different jobs. She started working at daycares, working with kids, being a nanny, this was for us was like a shock first. Vaz and I was.
Mom was working, like she was always home with us.
Yeah,
it's like
you literally grew up just like I did.
Yeah.
Mom was always home.
Yeah,
like that's a cool way to grow up. Like to know that your mom is there to nurture you, to support you, to be there for you. That's obviously the reason your dad brought you guys here, because now if I can put them in a better country with mom still at home, what a great opportunity. But that's not what happened.
Yeah. I mean, it was to the point that it would be my dad going to the construction site with my mom, and then us 2. And then 4 of us are working on the property, doing some work. I mean, that was very, very hard for me to understand what's going on. Why did we come to this land of opportunity? Because before moving to America, I thought America was a Disney World. Like, because like our relatives would send us pictures. It would be either the beach or like
Disney
a park,
World.
right? I didn't know. I thought it was like an amazing like vacation.
You watch the movies. You're like, wow, we can't wait to get there. Like first of all, when Dad told us we're moving to America, I was just super excited because I was like, I always like Tupac.
Yeah.
I like the beat, but I didn't know what the heck he's talking about. So I'm like, once we move, I'm going to learn English. I'm going to know what he's singing. Finally.
I love that. So you're listening. So in Armenia, let's just paint this picture. In Armenia, you're listening to Tupac. You're like, I know I like this guy, but damn it, if I just understood the language, I could actually know what the fuck he's saying, right? Yeah, exactly. I love that. It would be like if you're American, you're born here and you go to Mars. And you're all of a sudden, your technology doesn't work on Mars. There is no Wi-Fi. And these Martians have a very different way of life, and they have a different language, and they drive these spaceships that you're not even used to seeing, right? That would be the modern day equivalent.
That's a good point.
Isn't that true?
That's true, yeah.
People don't realize. They're like, well, it's 2024, it's 2025. I can go to any country and get, yes, you can. Today we can. But if you want the experience that we had, you got to go to Mars. You got to go to Pluto. You got to go to a whole different planet where things are very different. Obviously now at this point, you know, the $250,000, $300,000 is, for lack of a better term, squandered. There's no credit. So buy a car, buy a modest house. The idea was that mom would stay home and keep raising you guys as you guys go to high school. But before you know it, dad's taken on this contract. You know, he's doing construction and stuff, and he's taking on weird little jobs. And you guys and mom are there on the work site helping him.
Yeah,
right?
we would do it after school. We would help out. Then my mom gets different jobs. Then we all start going to college. And the thing is, I'll tell you, we like going to school and stuff like that. But I'm not doing my best. I'm kind of cruising. I'm a teenager.
Yeah.
So and then I start seeing my mom going to different types of jobs. For example, like she would wake up at 4:00 in the morning now to go to a pretzel factory. And I'm like, well, that's hard. That's a hard job. It's a hard labor, and for cheap, like $8 they were paying her.
Yeah.
Check. She was probably getting like $5.25 take home
After taxes, right?
So like, if you think about it, you do after taxes $5 an hour. You do 40 hours there, dude. That's $200.
Right.
And the last point that really pushed me to brought fire in me was when they didn't pay her for the last 2 weeks. They fired her, and then they didn't pay her for the last 2 weeks. So it was like $387 that they didn't pay her.
Which is a lot of money for anyone, but especially for your family as new immigrants to this country. And your mom is working at a pretzel factory and they fire her and they don't pay her the last 2 weeks. And that sets off this thing inside you, right? Like, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to make my way in this country in a way that money never becomes an issue again.